Hi everyone, my name is Anita Sharma and I welcome you all on Inkpothub Media. Today I'm going to be with Rahul, who recently joined IIM Ranchi. Rahul is an amazing person. He is going to tell us what all he did to get in IIM Ranchi, because his experience is altogether different. Science and management, a complete good combination, and which reflects in his language. He talks science and thinks management. So let's welcome Rahul and hear him out how he started and how he prepared, what motivated him to do a PhD in management, and that too from IIM Ranchi. Rahul, hi.
No, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Hi.
In fact, I am very much interested in knowing about your journey to get in IIM Ranchi, because when I was looking at your profile, it's kind of very interesting in terms of your background and then your decision to enter in the PhD in management at IIM Ranchi. So please share what have you done before your PhD admission.
Okay. So I am from Army background. So I studied from Army public school all over the country, east, west, north, everywhere.
Uh-huh.
I think that shaped the way I started thinking, basically. After my 12th, I went to Pune and to do my bachelor's in life sciences
Uh-huh.
from Ferguson College, Pune. After that, I joined Masters in TERI for Environmental Science and in New Delhi.
Mhm.
That was the most important academic point in my life that changed the way I started to think what I want to do and what I did not want to do. So after doing my masters, I worked for 1 year in Ambuja Cement, where I was working somewhere between environmental science and management. So basically, the profile was of marketing, but the component was from environment science.
Mhm.
So there I started seeing that there were certain gaps between what we study in science, whatever theories we do, whatever techniques that we develop, and whatever the management part is, whatever the application part is, how it is applied in India.
Mhm.
Because whenever we try to do something in science, we think from a very objective point of view. But when you go and apply in the field, it becomes completely different. There are sociological factors, economic factors, and there are thousands of factors that we cannot even think about. Even every single region of this country, of this world, has different factors. So
Mhm.
then I thought, okay, then there is something missing that I should explore. So that's when I decided that rather than going towards science now, I should move towards management so I can bridge the gap between both. So
Okay.
that's basically.
Okay, so which exam did you appear for to, to at least apply for the application? Was it
Yeah.
CAT,
So,
GMAT, GRE,
huh,
GATE? What it was?
no, CAT I never thought ki I would give.
Huh.
I did give for GATE. I did give GATE. I cleared that. Then I gave UGC NET. I cleared that too. And then
Uh-huh.
I gave CSIR JRF NET. Same. So I cleared that
Okay.
too. So I
Okay.
had applied from all those three. I did fill all those three applications. I don't know why or on what basis they selected. From what my perspective, I think it was CSIR because I got the highest marks in that.
Acha.
So hopefully that was that. Otherwise, it was a. I think from an exam point of view, I think that was much easier than what how to apply.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to suggest everyone. Ki before you think that I should apply to either management or to IIMs or somewhere else, first clear the exam. Be very sure that you have to clear JRF. If you are giving NET, you should have a JRF. If you are giving GATE, then you should have more than 96 percentile. And you have ever giving CAT, I think whatever heard from my peers that they're saying that you should get above 98, 97 percentile minimum. So
Mhm.
I think that's the basic gist that first you should clear the exam, then you should think what you
Mhm.
want to do.
Okay. So, how many IIMs did you apply for?
For management PhD, even this was the only place applied to.
Arey wow,
Not just
congratulations.
I am Rachi was the
So,
only place.
the application as well as conversion both happened. Okay. So,
Yeah, it was not. I did not believe that I would get converted, but I think
okay.
it went out good.
Okay, so only IIM Ranchi. Why only IIM Ranchi? Was there any specific reason?
Yes. So before I started applying in IIM Ranchi, before I thought that I should do a management PhD. I thought that I cannot do a management PhD, and I think most of the science people will relate that they will think that why would they take us, right?
Mhm.
You should get a science PhD, and that was the basic idea in my mind. So I was not applying anywhere except for the science PhDs. There is one professor of mine, Dr. Kamna Sachdeva from Terry,
Mhm.
and I think she helped me a lot. She told me that some of her colleagues are also working in IIM Lucknow and other IIMs. So it's not that the boundaries are diminishing. It's not what used to happen like I think 10 or 15 years ago. So now the boundaries are diminishing, and you should apply to, and you can get in. I think that you have that capacity. So
Mhm.
I think her belief was major factor why I applied to IIM Ranchi, and why IIM Ranchi is because. Before I applied, I started talking to all the alumni and current students. That was the first thing that I did even before applying. So I talked to alumni of all the places, all the IIMs, and other institutes, IITs also for management. And after talking to all of them, I found out that IIM Ranchi was the place that not only accept diversity, that embrace diversity. If you see the profile of people who have passed out from IIM Ranchi and the people who are currently studying, it is the most diverse batch. You will never find that kind of diversity anywhere else. Well, that's what my perception was,
So
and still is.
diversity in the background, or in what sense? The background.
Diversity in terms of what you have studied before you joined IIM
Okay.
Ranchi.
Mm-hmm.
Some people had studied physics, some people have studied chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
some like mine, biology.
Mm-hmm.
Some came from a non management background, but they went into management. And I think one thing that no future aspirant should be afraid of, that I have not studied management, I've not done an MBA, so how will I cope up with that?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the first thing that comes into everyone's mind. I mean, that came into my mind also. But when I talked to the alumni of the colleges, then they told me that when you join IIM Ranchi, or any IIM for that matter, you have to study all the MBA courses that a normal MBA does, plus whatever you do research that you are doing. So right now we have 27 subjects in first year. So that's I think a lot
Yeah.
for my digestion.
So I
but
remember I did close to 88 credits in the first year, and with
Yeah.
it was like a marathon in the first year, and you're running for the classes. 8:45 is the sacrosanct time, and everybody should be in the classroom. So I remember, and it was really tough. So I think you are right. In the first year, students are supposed to study with the PGP students, wherein the FPM or the PGP participants get a flavor of what is PGP all about. So we learn a lot when we are in the classroom. So that is why it is important. Generally, people who are applying, they feel that why we have to study with the PGP students in the first year. We ultimately want to become professors, so it's a waste of time. But ultimately, it's not a waste of time. You learn a lot of style, you learn a lot of teaching methods which professors are using, and we this learning will help and translate when they become professors. And many of us learn this aspect in a hard way, because PGP first year is definitely tough. It's definitely
I
definitely
think
tough.
it's not just about the subjects or whatever you are studying. It's hard. It's another level of hectic next what brings in your life, right? Whatever the MBA students are studying, whatever the age they are in, it's a different journey for them, and it's
Hmm.
a very different journey for us. But we have to match the frequencies somewhere, and we have to do assignments, and we have to do group projects. And it does that, like you said, it does become frustrating that why are we studying after all? Why are we doing double post graduation? uh, but you are from my background only, so I think you will be the best judge of whether it is going to help me or not. Though I miss one thing, that whatever right now we are doing it online. So it does, I think, lacks something that I think you guys must have enjoyed in your time.
So
But we are very
Rahul, whenever I now interact with the first year students, I feel that they are getting everything except that classroom feeling, except that that night team assignments, because in the first term it is all about developing that bond with the PGP student, and sometimes this friendship remains for lifetime, that connection remains for the entire life. So I'm sure it's a matter of say a few more months. Eventually you will go on campus and have that experience. uh, so yeah, let's come back to let's not get emotional here. Let's come back to the thing which we were discussing. Okay, tell me more about your statement of purpose. What kind of things you have written? Because it's a very challenging profile you have. You have to convince people for getting a call for the interview, and you have to convince, and you have to mention things in your SOP, that you have done this, and now you have to get in something else, which that how did you connect these two things?
I think the first thing that I would recommend to everyone is that you should start reading. And once you start reading, whatever you are reading, I'm not just saying that you should read academic articles, you should read. Whenever you read, you learn how to write.
Mm.
And I think writing matters because you have a very limited amount of words there. Like I think in my application, it was just, I think, 300 words or something. So in the matter of 300 words, you have to tell your whole life story, and you have to convince them also that you are best person for taking admission. Take experiences from your life journey. Like the movie Slumdog Millionaire, you should remind yourself what have you done. Now,
Mm.
what are those moments that have changed your life, and you should put that in. Like I think the first management kind of thing that happened with me was that I took entrepreneurship instead of biotech or something else in my 12th. So I
Very
think
good.
I was the only, yeah, so I was the only person from science background who took entrepreneurship, and I had to convince my principal for it. She was not going out for it. She thought, why are you not doing this? You should take biotech. It's more of your line. Right? That time I convinced her that let me take this. I'm not going to get bad marks. It's not going to affect school reputation. That's something I can assure you. And I did get very good marks in entrepreneurship. And the teacher that taught us, Dubey sir, I
Mm.
think he changed our way of thinking. Many people would, when you talk to people who are doing something from finance, they would always quote things from Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm.
So that Rich Dad Poor Dad was kind of the thing that Dubey sir taught in his own style, in its own Indian style. So that was the first point that I did put in my SOP, that I did entrepreneurship instead of any other biological or scientific subject. So I always had an interest in it, but it was never refined as such. So, but I took a chance and I did an entrepreneurship. The second thing that I did was that I took admission into Terry. A lot of people told me that why are you going to Terry? Why are there are you have studied from Pune University? Pune University is good for science, or you go for IITs or Delhi University for science, something like that. So, but Terry, like all other Tata institutes like TIS or IISc or TIFER, had a culture of research and a very diverse and inclusive culture. So in Terry, I was doing masters in science, but we had students from arts background also, commerce background also, doing masters in science, in environmental science. And the way that they had refined the course was that in such a manner that you are not just learning science, you are learning a lot of things. Like we studied natural resource management, we studied stats, we studied economics, we studied even law, for that matter. So that was another point that I did put into my CV SOP, that I have done my masters from Terry, and Terry has a unique curriculum that has not been followed anywhere in any other universities, for that matter. And the third point I did put was that my experience with Ambuja Cement. So in Ambuja Cement, I went in from a environmental science, from a campus placement, so it was kind of an environmental science thing. But there were some people there who were from management background. One of who was my reference for IIM Ranchi also, Mr. Pratap Barua. So he was national sales head for the this division that I was in, and he started teaching us a little bit of things about blue ocean strategy and all that. So there I started. Okay, this is also new. This is something new, right? We have studied marketing from a very Lala Panti kind of view, right? What we have studied from kids, like profit matters and all that thing. But we do not understand the things from a technical point of view. So here was someone who had experience of more than 20 years, and he was teaching us. And it was not his job to teach us, right? We were there to get salary for a job that we deliver. So that was the third experience that shaped my life, and I think I started reading about different marketing techniques, different strategies techniques. Um, so these were the 3 points that I put, that I did in entrepreneurship. I did studied from Terry, which had a different kind of culture, a different kind of curriculum, and my experience in marketing. And it was a very different kind of marketing. Unlike in other marketing, that this was the point I mentioned around 2 lines. I wasted around 50 words for it, but it was worth it. That Unlike other marketing, you sell a product or sell a service and you get a money out of that. But in the field that I was in, that waste management and alternative fuel, it was that I was getting the material out of the company, and I also had to get the money out of the company. And no one is ready to part money, especially when they are parting the product.
Mm.
So that was a very big challenge for me, and I that time I scored some lot of books and all that, ki how to do it, kaise karu main ye, but I could not find anything at all. It was all about a simple transaction, give and take. So there was nothing about give and give or take and take. So there I thought ki I should maybe I can do something about it, right? So
Okay.
that was the point that I did put in, that this is something of a unique field. It has not been explored yet. There are very much literature gaps in that, and I want to explore that. I think I can. This is something I can bring it. No one else can bring in
Okay.
from because
So,
of my background.
Rahul, so you got your application done, you got interview invite. So,
Yeah.
there must be 2 to 3 months to prepare for the interview.
Okay, so first I started reading up the papers, research papers that, because I had already selected that I wanted to go to IIM Ranchi. So I saw our professor's profile and all the papers that they have written, and I started reading up on them. And I started reading on allied papers related to that. So some papers were on ambidexterity. So beside the papers that the professor has written, I started reading up on the topic of ambidexterity, about what it is, how it relates to strategy and all that. Second, I started reading up the book, The Good Strategy and Bad Strategy. That's a very good book, and I think I would recommend everyone to read it. So, yeah.
So I'll show
So
you
that
something
act,
here, the
uh,
good strategy and bad strategy. I always keep, because I'm a professor of strategy, so I always keep this book with me.
that proves my point. That proves
Yes,
my point that you should do definitely read this book.
yes.
And I had a 1 year research experience during my post graduation. I was working under Dr. Sudipto Chatterjee for a BCCL project.
Okay.
So he had cultivated this learning habit that do literature survey. And no matter whatever subject you are, do literature survey. So I started doing literature survey. After reading that the book, whatever the topics that I was interested in,
Hmm.
and whatever the topics that I had read up and did at my job, I started mixing both those topics and started doing Google search, scholar.google search on those topics, and whatever literature I could find, I started reading up in that. Because one of the component that was important in the application form was that we had to submit a research proposal before we are sent for interview. So to prepare that research proposal, I started doing literature survey. And after doing the literature survey, I mixed some start book concept from the book. So that was the basic gist of how I prepared.
Okay, so here, Rahul, it's like for the application, you submitted your SOP, you submitted your synopsis, some potential
Yeah.
PhD topic. So that came from your reading of books or articles and your previous research experience. Now let's
The application, in application, it was not asked. Research proposal was not asked.
okay, it was
When
not
you get
asked.
shortlisted, then they send you a mail that you have to prepare a research proposal for the interview.
Okay, okay. So tell me more about your interview then.
Uh, it was like this virtual meeting.
Hmm.
So I think I was quite nervous. That was the first interview that I was giving on virtual. So the interview was very grilling, I would have to say. It was very grilling. It was around 25 to 30 minutes, I guess, and they asked a lot of questions. And I'm going to say very honestly, I did not answer all of them. I tried to whatever I could not. I honestly admitted that I do not know about this, but I would definitely read about this, and I did read about after the interview. So first they started with basic general question about what have you done, where are you from, what are your ambitions, why are you doing your PhD. Um, then they started asking. Then they we had to send a PPT of our research proposal. So they went one slide by one slide, and they spent around 5-6 minutes per slide. So they grilled a lot about. Matlab they basically grilled a lot and lot about the research proposal. They like nitpicked every single thing. Why have you written objective? What is this? What this will aim to? Whatever the literature survey have you done? And the golden question that you are from science, so why are you doing it in management? Which was again very difficult to convince, because in your mind you know how you want to, why you are doing it, but to
Uh,
convince the other person that you are not just doing it for doing sake, you are actually interested in it, it's a difficult job. So I did tell them that because of my experience, whatever I've done, the exact points in what I told in my SOP, I picked up that points and I told them that this is what I am interested in doing. I'm trying to bridge the gaps between management and science. They were one of the professors had a science background, and so he was a perfect person to ask me the question and grill me on it. Like he knew that whatever scientific mind you have or whatever management is kind of different thing. It's not the same thing, right? So he grilled me a lot, and I think I passed with flying colors because I got selected. But at that time, I was quite afraid. I'm not going to lie. I was quite afraid that okay, this is very hard. I'm not able to answer some of the questions. And one of the very senior panelists, they started asking me questions on strategy. Because I had read the book, so I did answer some of them, but some of them that I was not able to answer. Um, so it was quite a grueling interview, but well, at that time I thought ki I'm definitely not going to get selected. That is something I'm very sure of.
so,
But
what was the
did
duration for, what was the length of your interview?
around 25 to 30 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
But they spent around most of the time on research proposal.
Okay. So, did they ask you how will you survive in another 4.5 years or 4 years? Did they check
So
your level of motivation?
they did ask me, why are you doing PhD? So I told them that I am interested in doing research. So they said, why don't you do PhD in science? So I said, research is research, right?
Hmm.
We cannot, we have to stop thinking about boundaries of different subjects and think more of an interdisciplinary term. So I think that's how I tried to convince them that yes, I am ready for it. Uh, they did warn us that you have to study a lot of management subjects. You have to study a lot of different new things that you have not studied. And I told them that I am ready for it. And sometime or most of the time, you do get failures. So I told them that I've done research. I'm prepared for it. I know that it's not going to be an easy journey. That is something I already know about, and it is already scary, but I am ready for it. Because
Okay.
I don't understand that what I will do except if I don't do research.
Okay.
So that's the
So,
thing.
Rahul, because you said so that it's going to be a tough and scary journey, what are your plans to sail through this? Do you play something, some sport or some other activity you do? Because you need to keep your half of the mind in some other activities, then only your other part of the mind
Yeah.
will work for your research. So, what is it? So, in informal conversation, you mentioned that you love gaming. So, tell me more about it.
So I think whatever, either you're working or you are doing research, your life is constantly changing, right? So you should have a rock somewhere which is not changing. So that is something that is one part is reading books, novels, and another is gaming.
Uh-huh.
So I try to at least play 50, if not nothing else, at least like 15 minutes of gaming. So it kind of relaxes me. It kind of distracts me also from whatever is happening, whatever assignments, exams, and quizzes are happening. So that does kind of relieves your mind. So I like gaming, and I think that is one of the only passion I think I have other than studying.
Okay.
So that's it.
So is it Counter Strike?
I know that is something I don't like competitive gaming. Other if I go into competitive gaming, then it becomes another kind of journey, right? Another kind of
Okay.
PhD. So
Okay.
I like to play single player games. Recently I played Red Dead Redemption 2.
Uh-huh.
Currently I'm playing Marvel's Avengers.
Okay.
So every day do something at least.
So
And
Rahul,
aside
one
from
thing,
that, reading novels.
yeah. So I think these things will definitely help you to sail through your PhD journey, because you need to have and cultivate these type of habits and interests so that you can remain constantly into your research as well. Otherwise, sometimes people lose their motivation. It was really nice meeting you, discussing with you. We'll keep on coming back to you with each and every step, the next journey which you will have once you clear your first year. So, Rahul, thank you so much, and your insights are very, very helpful. Very helpful, seriously.
Press the bell icon on
Thank
the
you.
YouTube app and never miss another update.